Hi, my name is Matilda, and I'll be talking about Anchorage. So Anchorage is in Alaska, and Alaska is in the U.S., and the U.S. is in North America. So Anchorage is also beside the north part of the Pacific Ocean, and I'll be talking about seasons, tides, and eclipses of the sun and moon. So listen up and you'll learn its facts. So how do seasons occur? Well, from the tilt of the Earth's axis and the heat of the sun, and Earth's orbit around the sun. So in this diagram, the axis of the Earth is on a tilt, and it's really important it is because if it wasn't, only one half of the Earth would get summer and the other half wouldn't. So in this, let's make an example of Africa. In the summer, it'll be facing the sun, the top part will be like having the sun. It'll be having nice warm summer, but in the winter, wouldn't be really facing the sun, and it will just still have daylight, but it will just be colder at that time. So that's pretty much how seasons occur. Anchorage has summer and winter, so it means it has two seasons. Into winter, there's lots of snow, and in the summer it's nice and cool. In the winter, it's between -1 to -19 degrees, and in the summer, it's 13 to 26 degrees. Explaining the lunar phases. The moon's orbit is on a tilt, which causes moon phases. The phases of the moon depend on the moon's orbit. So, how do tides occur? With the gravitational pull of the moon and sun. So, there are two kinds of tides, neap tide and a spring tide. This is a neap tide. So, the little white dot is the moon, and the big fireball is the sun. And a neap tide happens when the sun and moon are at a 90-degree angle with the Earth. So, as you can see, all the water is pulling with the moon's gravity, and not with the sun's, but they're both pulling still. So there's a higher tide at the north part of the Earth and in the south part of the Earth. So that's when you know there's a neap tide. So the second kind of tide is the spring tide. So the spring tide is when the sun and moon are in front of the Earth and they're both pulling. So the east and west both get more higher tides than the north and south. So the highest tide in Anchorage is 9.2 meters, 30.2 feet, and the lowest in Anchorage is 7.61 meters, 25 feet. The average in Anchorage is 8 to 9 meters. So as you can see in this photo, it's a solar eclipse. And a solar eclipse is much more rare than a lunar eclipse. So when the moon is in front of the Earth, so as you can see in this photo, it's a solar eclipse. And a solar eclipse is much more rare than a lunar eclipse. So when the moon is in front of the Earth, the sun shines onto the moon, but the moon is blocking the sun. So only a little part of the Earth gets to see a solar eclipse. The next lunar eclipse will be on April 4th, 2015, but it is only a partial one. The next total lunar eclipse will be in 31st of January 2016.